guys. That was a fun sound. Alright, so let's see. I'm gonna pause for a minute and let people join the fun. You can, if you're watching this not live, you can join me in a moment of quiet breathing. Dude, that's actually really calming. Man, we should make that like a regular part of the routine, except that would be super boring on video. Like, yeah, you can come on live and watch me breathe. And breathe with me. Alright, so my drink today is old school ice water. Best drink of them all. The mother of all drinks. Did you know that most drinks have this drink in them? At least not necessarily the ice, but... Oh crap. I dripped onto my fancy fitness show and tell. So, I know you were probably hoping... Hi, somebody just joined me in the middle of saying something that was going to be super awkward, so now I'll say it to somebody. Hi. I know you were probably hoping to see me in super tight shorts with my fancy fitness show and tell, but instead, because I'm a nerd, you get an incomprehensible chart. No, but so this is something that I'm experimenting with, especially because, okay, so now I'm working from home, so like fitness is a concern. Like I've probably gained 3 pounds since I made the transition, and that was like 2 weeks ago. So this is something I actually have been doing for a long time, but not very regularly. Or I mean something I started a long time ago. So this is just a little experimental fitness system TM that I have made up for myself. So basically, I figured out this is probably all like mirror image and you can't read it, so I'll explain as we go. But so I came up with, for the time being, 4 different exercises that I can do, like with either just my 5-pound weight or just my body. They are planks in seconds, toe rises, elbow lifts, which is a name I made up for going like this with a 5-pound weight, and high steps, which is kind of like running in place but kicking your knees as high as you can go. So I have those 4 different kinds of exercises, and I figured out kind of the equivalencies of like 1 elbow lift equals a pair of high steps equals a second of planks equals 1 toe rise, which is just me standing and then going up as high as I can on my toes. Anyway, so then I figured out, there we go, so then I have little spaces for 70 of those, 75 of them, 80 of them, 90 of them, 80, whatever the numbers are, 85, it goes up by 5s. So basically I have the opportunity to do each thing, each number of times, 3 times. That's kind of confusing, but so the thing is, you see, like, I've got some super high up here, so every time I do some exercises, I just kind of push myself as hard as I can or feel like at the moment, and then I get to fill in the relevant box. Like if I did 80 toe rises, I can fill in a box for 80 toe rises, but the trick is I only get 3 boxes for 80 toe rises. So, like, you'll see today I finally just filled in all of my 70s. So now the minimum number that I can do to get a mark is 75. And eventually those will fill in and those will fill in. So, like, on the days when I'm already feeling energetic or, like, I want to push myself, I can just go way out here somewhere. Or, in fact, it wraps around. So, like, I'm up to 210 is the maximum when I started at 70. So I can push myself, like, if I want to do 100 seconds of planks or something, then I am giving myself some breathing room. Anyway, so my original thing was do, like, kind of as long as you fill in 3 boxes a day, you're at least guaranteeing that you're doing something and progressing slowly, at least. And now that I'm, like, sitting at home in front of my computer all day, I'm thinking I will step it up to maybe, like, 3 boxes a day, except 5 every other day, or maybe even more than that. We'll see. But yeah, so it's just a naturally graded exercise routine. And then I'm now also thinking about adding some other exercises that will, like, they'll, what's the word? That'll develop more than just like my toe rising muscles, my elbow rising muscles, my planking muscles, and my high stepping muscles, because those are probably like 28% of my muscles tops, probably less. Depends on whether you're going by volume or by count. If you're going by count, then there's I was gonna say all the tiny little muscles in your ears, but that's tiny little bones in your ears, but then there's tiny little muscles like in your fingers. So like, if we're going by count, this is probably like crazy exercise right now. Anyway, hi, thank you for bearing with me. Yeah, so let me know what you guys are thinking about, what you're doing. How are you staying fit? That's the question for today. How are you staying fit? Let me know in the comments. And now, on to the story. So we're continuing to read from the Dreamworld Collective. We're up to page 67. Pro tip, the page numbers are the same in the hardcover and the paperback editions. So whichever one you have, you can still read along with us. So Zen had just been talking with Thomas about breakfast schemes, and now we jump back to the sunroom where Sushi is painting while the others make their own breakfast schemes. Sushi stepped back to evaluate her clockmaker painting with a critical frown. Around her, the misty golden light settled into the sunroom. It was exactly right for looking at paintings in. She smiled. Otto burst in. "Breakfast!" She spun around. Her eyes were assaulted by huge baby pink shoulders and the fleshy roundness of Otto's belly peeking around a pair of baggy overalls. "God, are you trying to kill me?" she cried. "Leave me alone, Farmer McPudgerson. I'm painting." He grinned. "Okay," he replied, "but breakfast, all breakfasty and delicious." "Go away." She returned back to the easel. "I'll be back," he said. He did the accent. She rolled her eyes, mostly managing to contain a little smile. The painting was essentially done, just a little more work to do on the face of one of the apprentice boys. "No, shut up, it's done," she told herself. "Start the next one." It was so easy to never stop refining. Sushi knew she could settle into a finished painting and spend hours or days touching up details, fine-tuning colors, adjusting facial expressions. It was a comfortable place. It gave her plenty of self-indulgent security in the beauty of a completed painting, while maintaining the illusion of work in progress. Incidentally, this is something I have to watch out for as a writer, too. Like, it's easy to be like 95% of the way done with something, or even all the way done, just you can always touch it up a little more. And, like, it's really fun to go back and read through all the coolness of the story that I've already written, and it's super hard to go and just, like, write a whole new passage of stuff from scratch. And so, like right now, I'm kind of having this issue with Hubris Towers episode 7. It's basically done. It needs a couple little fixes, but it's taken me forever to do those little fixes because then I'll have to, because it's, well, actually no. Honestly, for me, it's the opposite. I really like writing new stuff, usually, and editing is really annoying because I already like the stuff that I wrote, and then finding like what to cut down and what to change about it, and then making it all fit back together seamlessly as if I had not changed anything is really hard for me. So actually it's probably just that I'm procrastinating because editing is hard. But then I also don't feel the liberty to just go write large swaths of something new while I have this important, semi-urgent thing whose deadline is frankly past hanging over my head. Anyway, so that's a little insight into the dysfunctions of my writer's process. She removed the painting from her easel and set it aside to dry. In its place, she hoisted her final canvas for the contest. It already held the sketch of the next painting in some detail. A golden griffin fought a bear in a forest clearing while fairies hid behind mushrooms to watch. I really wish I could see these paintings, by the way. Like, it's a super cool set of paintings. She began adding layers to the griffin, letting herself grow absorbed in the right choice of colors. It still amazed her how wrong the right colors and the right shapes seemed early on in the painting. "Breakfast, breakfast!" She whirled around. "Damn it, Otto, don't sneak up on me when I'm painting." She waved the brush in his face. "First rule of painting, no loud noises when the brush is on the canvas." "Sorry." Otto sized up the canvas. "Dude, griffin fight! You're totally gonna win the contest with that." I know, that's why I'm doing it. Duh. Judges are suckers for griffins. No, they're not. They're suckers for quality and brilliance, and fairies. If I was judging, said Otto with authority, I'd be a sucker for the griffin. Sushi scoffed. Shows what you know about art. Summer appeared in the doorway. Otto, you were supposed to get her. Don't let her beguile you with her stunning representations of a vivid and visceral alternative reality, the world of our childhood dreams. She said it all in a quick, unbroken monotone. Sushi laughed. The phrase was a verbatim quote from a kind review of her senior art show back at St. Carl. But we were having a sophisticated debate about art and aesthetics, sighed Otto. Is truth Griffin's, and Griffin's truth? Ooh, Griffin. Summer was immediately beguiled. She joined Otto behind Sushi, watching the mixed tints of gold and white and red where griffin feathers would be. Sushi suddenly felt an oppressive awareness of their breathing, looking, expectant presence. Breakfast, she said, without turning around. Oh yeah, come. Summer slung an arm through her non-painting elbow and began dragging her away. Otto waited for an opportune moment, then deftly grabbed her other arm. After a brief struggle, Sushi gave in. Hi, Joy. I'm glad you could join us. After a brief struggle, Sushi gave in. Fine, take me to your glorious breakfast. She strode into the kitchen a pace ahead of Summer and Otto. Alex was doing something with a little pan over a little can of heat. I was told you have a breakfast, she announced. It had better be good. Alex, focused on his cooking, gestured toward a plate with 3 pancakes on it. 3? That's all you have, Johnny cakes? Turns out they're pancakes, actually, said Alex. There's all the stuff in them in the mix, like baking powder. Whatever. Sushi whirled on Summer and Otto. This? She asked. We thought it would take you longer to come. Sushi regarded the 3 little pancakes, then stalked back toward the sunroom. You were right, she said. It will. Zen and Thomas unloaded their pile of groceries from the little red wagon onto the checkout line. Did you find everything okay? Croaked the adolescent cashier. Zen pondered this. I love Zen. That's an interesting question. I suppose if we're just talking about... Then he remembered. This was one of those questions. Fine, thanks, and you? He tossed it off without waiting for a response, as Sushi had trained him to do in these situations. With that taken care of, he observed, people must buy some weird combinations of stuff here. Yeah, I guess, said the cashier, punching the number for the starfruit. Like what? Zen asked. I don't know. I kind of don't really pay attention. You should, said Zen firmly. It can be pretty funny. I saw a guy getting beer, sponges, and a cigarette lighter once. What are you going to do with beer, sponges, and a lighter? Molotov mocktails? Probably just needed sponges. That'll be $47.79. I kind of like my squeaky teenager voice. I haven't practiced it at all. I'm sure it could be better, but it's kind of fun to do. I got a couple packs of marshmallows in a rake one time, Thomas threw in. I guess that's kind of funny if you think about it all together. Yeah, that's the key, Zen agreed. They loaded the wagon back up and headed outside. Now, talking to hot girls, began Zen. Thomas trotted up a couple steps to make sure he was in earshot. Basically, just start talking to everybody. But, I know, but trust me on this. If you start talking to everybody, you'll be used to it by the time a hot girl comes around. You have to stop caring whether they're hot. Thomas hesitated. But I do care whether they're hot. Why? Asked Zen. Thomas struggled with his words. Zen smiled. This was the best part of teaching, productively confusing your pupil. They just, He paused, apparently waiting for Zen to bail him out. Zen didn't. That's the whole point, Thomas finally blurted. What's the point of learning how to meet people if it's just random people? What's a random person? Zen asked rhetorically. I'm pretty sure there's no such thing as a boring person. Yeah, but... No, I know what you mean. Oh, perfect chance. Go say hi to that guy. Zen pointed to a businessman walking toward them with his eyes on the cold sidewalk. No. Zen threw up his non-wagon dragging hand. I can't teach you if you refuse to learn. Fine. By now the businessman was a few steps away and closing fast. Thomas stopped and flashed a hand at him. Hi. How you doing? Said the businessman without slowing down or making eye contact. Zen smiled. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? Nice job, by the way. That was totally pointless. He didn't even look at me. Which leads us to an important discovery. Most people don't care about you at all. Thomas hitched his hands back into his back pockets. guess, but what does that have to do with... He trailed off. You're off the hook. You can screw up as hard as you want. People don't care. They'll just think you're an idiot and walk away. Ooh, go say hi to her. This time it was an old lady sitting on a park bench reading the newspaper. No, cried Thomas. Look, man, I'm not just going to keep barging in on people. And the whole point is not looking like an idiot. Oh, come on. Everyone secretly wants some stranger. Just walk up and strike up an amazing conversation with them. You're going to change someone's life today. Or this week. Sometimes it takes a few tries. They had come to a halt across the street from the old lady. Look, I don't want to do this, Thomas whispered urgently. Obviously, Zen replied, otherwise you'd already be talking to hot girls at the grocery store. He gave that one a moment to sink in. Now I'll tell you what's going to happen. You'll walk over, you're going to kind of cringe and wave if I'm any judge, and you'll say hi, just that word, and just loud enough to make you feel like you technically did it. If she ignores you, you have to say it again, louder. Then she'll either look up at you nicely and say hello in a sweet grandmotherly tone, and you'll ask what she's reading about, and she'll tell you and maybe invite you to sit down, and you'll have a wonderful conversation and make a friend, or... He looked hard at the old lady, trying to evaluate which would go. Sometimes it was a tricky call. Or what? Thomas asked with some desperation. Well, when you ask what she's reading, she'll snap that she's trying to read if you don't mind, and young people these days are such an obnoxious bother, and why don't you mind your own business? Oh, said Thomas. Think of the hot girls. Zen patted his shoulder reassuringly. Okay, said Thomas. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us, and remember, tell me your top secret fitness tips in the comments. Especially, I'm looking for ways to exercise that don't involve a lot of equipment. I've got a 5-pound weight, which is basically nothing for my physique. Not to brag. But yeah, so I want some kind of routine that I can do with my full body that will keep me in shape when I'm basically just sitting in a basement all day. I mean, we do have an exercise bike upstairs, and I'm starting to use it a little bit and stuff, but anyway, love you guys. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you later.